Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to the Wildflower Will's YouTube channel. I'm Louise from Wildflower Will. It's Monday, which means it's voting day. It is cast on day. It is brand new project day. It is all kinds of fun day. That's what it is around here. So grab your knitting, get settled in. We're going to chat for an hour. We're going to follow the same format we do every single Monday night when we're live here. We're going to talk about what you were voting on. We'll talk about the yarns, some of the predominant comments that I got as people were voting, and then we'll talk about the winning yarn and what the project's going to be. And then I'll show you a handful of projects that I worked on, maybe three projects that I worked on this week, and I'll show you some progress. No finishes yet, but I'm feeling like I'm getting close on a couple projects. So, hey, Jocelyn, how are you? Hey, Susanna. Okay, so this week's project, I woke up this morning, and of course, every Monday, that's kind of the first thing I think of. I'm like, what am I going to want to knit today? What would be super fun? What would I like? Would I like socks? Would I like brioche? Would I like stranded color work? Would I just kind of go through the whole thing, and I'm like, and then I think for a second, I'm like, okay, what makes me smile when I think about it? And I'm like, you know what I really want to do more of? Is more brioche. So I did a huge stash dive, you all. I went to the basement. Normally, when I get stash, I come up here to the yarn room, and I have a little bit in my bedroom. Well, okay, maybe not a little bit, a fair amount in my bedroom. And I thought, nope, I have gone through those over and over and over the last few weeks. I thought, I need something different, something that I haven't seen for a while. So to the basement it was. I yeah, I found I didn't even get I stopped at a couple shelves, looked at a couple totes, and I'm like, oh my goodness. I found some stuff that I hadn't seen in quite a while, which now makes me really interested in going through the basement stash and seeing what actually is down there. You can hear Nikki, or Nikki, you can hear Daisy. Yes, she is here telling me that I did not feed her. So we'll just have to, yes, we can all hear you. Okay, so I know venturing into the basement, uncharted territory. So what I did, okay, I I found a small tote that had some decor in it. Decor, I'm pretty sure is not even made anymore by Patons. I think they've replaced it. Oh shoot. What is it? There's a newer yarn they have that is an acrylic wool blend. The name is just gone. Anyways, one of you guys may know and put it in the comment, or I may think about it here as I'm talking because I feel like it's right there. Anyways, so this is some old stash. So Patton's Decor, it's a wool acrylic blend. So what is it? Does anybody else have any of this in their stash? I'm sure a bazillion people do, right? Because this yarn was around forever and ever. And maybe it still is. Maybe it still is, but I have a feeling that it's not. Anyways, it is a worsted weight, the drill. Well, no, I guess maybe you don't. So I was going to say it's very similar to classic wool, just it has the acrylic blend in it. So it is a worsted weight. Care instructions. I'm pretty sure that you can machine wash this because yeah, it's 75 acrylic, 25% wool, 100 grams. What color is this? This one is really pretty, isn't it? I really like this. Oceanside variegated. I like this. I think this is the only ball of this colorway I have in my stash. I don't think I have ever knit with it. I don't know why I bought it originally, like however many years ago. So Patton's Decor in black. They didn't get too excited. Black is black. So I just grabbed these two because I thought they would be nice. I really thought this would look fun with the black. This was option. This was left. This is what you were voting for if you voted for left. Then I did some more looking and I came across, you guys, I came across a bag, a big bag of classic wool. And it was sitting up on a shelf. And all I could see from the outside was bags of fuchsia or magenta, like a bright pink. And I had actually thought that was all that was in that bag. So I went over there, grabbed that bag, thinking I was going to grab the magenta and pair it with something else that I found in classic wool. I got digging through the bag and it had three different colors of classic wool in there. And one of them was this dark green. I think it's called evergreen. Yes, evergreen. And the other color, there was another green, but it was a little bit lighter. But I thought I liked the contrast, the dark with the variegated. Poor Daisy. I know. You guys have seen Daisy, right? I've picked all like 25 pounds of her up. Yeah. She's not being starved. She's just being impatient. um that's exactly what she said, Nikki. I know. How dare. I came home. I quickly ate. I added up the votes and here I am. I know. I looked after myself first before my animals. That is like breaking the golden rule there, isn't it? Okay, so I found this bag with all this classic wool in it, which I don't know what I will do with it. It would actually make maybe a fun like entrelac pillow. Anyways, so evergreen. And then I just turned around, looked up on a shelf, and just randomly sitting there was this skein of yarn that I must have dyed because it's got, where is it? It has, okay, somewhere on here, there are pink ties that I will have put on here. So I've hand dyed this at some point in time. I don't remember when, but I'm not entirely sure if it was Kool-Aid or acid dyes. I'm kind of thinking the more I look at it, I'm thinking that it probably is acid dyes. There's orange and yellow and pink in here. Anyways, it looks kind of fun. There is a spot somewhere that doesn't have a whole lot of dye in it. So it's going to have a lot of variation in there. Oh, and I see. It's amazing. When you hold things up to the camera, you see things that you don't necessarily see in person. Okay, so when I see this, this here is yellow. At first, I thought looking at it in the camera, I thought, oh, that's white. But it's a really light yellow color. Anyways, so I thought these would be fun together. Wind this up into a ball with the dark green. Now, a couple, well, a handful, more than one or two of you said that the orange and the black would look really good together. And you're absolutely right, it would, wouldn't it? But I didn't even think really about doing that because I wanted to keep the 100% wool and the blend separate. But I guess I could. There'd be no reason. You would just always have to think when you're washing it, you would have to wash it according to the what the most delicate yarn. Is that what delicate? I suppose, right? The one that you have to take the more care for in washing, which would be the wool. So I don't know. Typically, I don't mix them, even though you could. They're both worsted weight, so really you could. I don't know. It's just like that seems to like go against something that um I've just never really thought too much about mixing. But you could, just as long as you remembered this could be machine washed, but I'm sure this can be machine washed. Yes, it can. Um, but anyways, I didn't because that seemed to go against my knitting rules. So I kept the dark green and the orange, which I think will look fun too. But that would look really good too. Anyways, hello everybody. I see a bunch of people popping in here chatting, and that's fun. So, okay, voting. Um, one person said that I think it was the green Was it green and black? I think actually it was Sherry, and it was a good point, kind of saying it could look too Halloweeny, like too pumpkiny. And I always think that about certain colors. If I do like yellow and black I always think looks like a bumblebee. And yellow and green, sometimes it looks I don't know. Yeah, there's some colors that I think sometimes I put them together and I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I really want because it does give you a certain vibe, right? This does look fallish. Some people said definitely this was a fall feel, and I think that's absolutely right. There was a couple people said they absolutely loved the idea of blue and black together, and I think that would look really, really sharp too. I know. I think they both would look absolutely fantastic. So let's see the details. We had a lot of people voting today. So people were definitely feeling one way or the other because there was a lot of votes. And we had 135 votes today, which is a lot for our usual weekly voting. Um, oops. You know what I did not do? I didn't figure out the percentage. Let me do this really quick. I mean, you guys, it was definitely one-sided. So that may give it away. If you'll probably know now which colorway is one. But I um I really wasn't sure because I never know how you guys are going to vote. And like I said, almost every week, Instagram versus Facebook can be totally different. And, if you just look at Facebook, you'll be like, okay, this is what is going to be the winning vote. You look at Instagram and it's the complete opposite for whatever reason. So let's see. The winning color combo had 68% of the vote. It wasn't quite, I thought it might have been a little bit higher than that. But 68, that's almost 70%. So I guess that is a fair number, one-sided, right? Okay. Oh, Liz is giving me the drum roll. Okay, so that tells me to wrap up my rambling about the voting and tell you what I'm going to be casting on. So, um, let's see. Okay. All right. Just looking at the comment here. Oh, Carol, you got a raccoon. Okay. All right. What I'm casting on for this week's brioche hat project is going to be insert your own pretend drum roll right here. Hand dyed and the green. So we're going with 100% wool, and I think I'll be fine. I know some people find classic wool to be a little picky, like right up here on your forehead where it is maybe a little more sensitive than other spots, but I typically am fine with it. And I've got a few classic wool hats, and I really, really like them. I am really excited to see this wound up. Like I love it looks really fun. Okay, well, right now it kind of looks like a mess, but it looks really pretty in the skein. And then I love seeing them caked up because then they look totally different again. And then once you start knitting with them, um, then you really have no idea. And then I think with the brioche combining it with the other color, then again, it's going to have a totally different look as well. Liz, I was thinking the exact same thing. You guys, every week, how long has your streak been? The last few weeks, Liz is like, yes, my winning streak is still on. My streak is still going. And when I saw what you voted for today, I was like, oh, she is on a roll. Oh no, Nancy's on the other side of things. Well, Nancy, all I can say is vote again next week and fingers crossed. Um, Oh, no, Sherry. Yes, Sherry, yes, you were one voting for the blue, weren't you? Well, you guys, the blue is really fun, and I would love to cast this on someday. I don't know. I hate to even think of how long this has been in my stash, you guys. But this is gonna be super fun too. Okay, so brioche. Let's just chat about brioche here for a quick sec before we go on to my other projects. I'm just feeling like I'm in this super colorful knitting mode. I'm not neutrals are fine. Neutrals are great because they're very, very wearable. But for accessories like hats and cowls and things, well, I don't know. And even sweaters right now, I would cast on something bright and colorful. I don't know if it's just because it's spring and summer and all the flowers are blooming. It's just color is bursting everywhere. But I just want color. And brioche is so fantastic for color. And I'm going to try. Typically, when I do hats, honestly, with brioche, I know one of brioche's claim to fame is that it's reversible. So you could do main color, contrast, you turn it around, you've got main color and contrast. But really, I never switch. Okay, so in your comments, tell me, are you a brioche knitter and do you actually reverse your brioche knitting? I always typically like one color to be my main color, and that's how I want to wear it. Um, yeah, I honestly have never really truly thought I would knit something to be completely reversible and then like wear it one way one day and flip it around the next day or something. Oh, Nikki reverses. Ooh, okay. Okay, I'm curious now. I want to know because yeah, really, I don't. I'm wanting this to be my main color and this to be my contrast. So, having said that, because I typically think that I really am not going to ever reverse them, I don't pay too close of attention to having my increases and decreases completely reversible because some of them are completely reversible, so you can flip them around. Others are not. And that has never really bothered me before because I was never really thinking I was going to reverse them. But this one here, I actually might. Um, Go outside my brioche comfort box and do a different increase so it can be reversible. That's going to be my little challenge for myself this time. Oh, Nancy still has only done one color brioche. One color. This project was almost going to be a one color, and I was just going to pick, I don't know, no color combinations. It was going to be like green or black. Nothing really near as exciting as having color combinations, but I had came across a pattern when I was scrolling through Ravelry, and there was a pattern that I was really, really interested in and thought it would be a really fun knit, and it was one color brioche, and it was a hat. Um, oh, Sherry reverses as well. I have a feeling I'm going to be in the minority here. I think as far as like reversing, w- the what I think I would do is I would knit a hat, so a hat, knit a hat, and then roll the brim up. So then, because on one hand, I think, well, if I'm not going to reverse it, what's the point of having something reversible if I'm not going to use it, right? Or seeing the other side, and I think kind of the same with double knitting as well. But if you do a hat and you roll the brim up, then everybody can see, right? You've got both sides visible at one glance. So that I would probably do. Anyways, oh, Jew says, I love reversible increases and decreases. Joe's never tried brioche. Oh, Joe. Okay. You're going to be in for a treat someday. Oh, and Sherry says, I've only ever done two colors. So, when I teach brioche, I always start out teaching one color because I find it's typically easier for people because you're only holding one strand of yarn and you get the setup, having your double stitches, slip the single, work the double with just one strand of yarn, and then move into having two. And anyways, that's just how I prefer to teach it. But I know most people take a brioche knitting class because they want the fun color, and I think they think one color is boring because it's only one color. So I really, really stress that one color brioche is wonderful. It's soft, it's squishy, it's super fun to knit. Um, but yes, two colors always fun too. Hi, Sam. Okay, so oh, okay. Diane, I have made a cowl that reversed Halfway down. Oh, so that's fun. So then you've got it so you just switched your colors. Well, see, that's fun because then you get the color effect without having to, like, take it off and turn it inside out. That is fun. I like that. That's something fun. I would do that. Nancy. Oh, okay, so Nancy's saying to Joe, "I watched the bee hooked knitting video, and that's all it took." I know. I find some of these techniques, people are kind of black and white, double knitting, brioche, entrelac. Some people are either yes or no. I like it, I don't. I will try it, I won't. um, some people don't like the look of brioche because it has that ribbed look to it, and some people just don't care for that. But I find that some patterns look better, like entrelac. Sometimes, oh, Carol's in the chat. Carol made this beautiful entrelac jacket. And I think Carol, wasn't it like back in the 80s or something? Like it was a while ago, but you pulled it out and you redid the cuffs and it is so wearable. It looks so good because I had said that I didn't think I would wear a whole entrelac sweater because in my mind I was kind of looking at something like from the 80s with big shoulder pads and I don't know, just the style of the sweater and all this entrelac, and I was like, "Ooh, no." But I think it was more the style, not the actual stitch pattern. Because when I saw Carol's jacket, I'm like, "Oh my goodness, I like that." But, sometimes we look at things that are in brioche or whatever, and they look I d yeah. You just like them in certain projects better than others, I bet, right? So, okay, Liz says, "I'm not interested in brioche," and some people aren't because you just don't like the look of it, or it does take a little thinking, but it takes a little bit of practice. The knitting of it is pretty simple. You don't want to get distracted, and lifelines are your friends for sure. Sam says, in brioche, do you keep going with the setup row? No, setup row, you only do it once, Sam. The setup row, so when you cast on, you have regular knit stitches. You have like single stitches on your knitting needle. To set up for brioche, you have to have a single stitch and you have to have a double stitch, which is your stitch with a yarn over. And they have to alternate. So that setup row just sets up that single, double, single, double, single, double. And then you carry on with your brioche pattern. Yeah, it's fun. I like it because I don't know, it's colorful. I find it really fun. Um, oh, Alyssa, you said brioche, you just couldn't do it via video. I know it's one of those things that either you just have to keep looking for a different video and have somebody explain it a little slower, a little differently, or have somebody show you in person. Oh, Carol, thanks, Louise. It was 2000. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Um, okay, so it was not near as old as I thought it was. Your brioche hat needs some encouragement. Ready to decrease. Oh my gosh, Carol, that's amazing. Okay, you've got it almost finished. Sabrina, it's a no for you. I know some people are. So, okay, so Sabrina said no. Liz said no. Is it because you just don't like the look of it? Or I don't know. Is it just, or you just um don't want to learn how, or it's intimidating? I'm just curious. Um, but yeah, I know. You guys know I like to encourage people to try all of the fun things. But yeah, if you don't like it, don't try it, right? It's like me knitting toys is probably the one thing that I like the least. And I do it every once in a while if I find something that gets me super excited. But yeah, for the most part, I'm like, no, I'm just going to watch everybody. I like seeing all the finished projects. So maybe that's you with brioche, right? You just like the look, or like the colors and see the color combos, but you're like, no, I'm fine if I never do it. And that's okay because you want your knitting to be fun. Diane said, oh, Diane, okay, I missed your I was making, okay. So Diane said the cowl that reversed halfway down. She said the pattern was Mohawk Delight. Okay, how do people get some of these names? That has to mean something to somebody, right? Oh my gosh, Joe, you're doing your first entrelac scarf now. That is exciting. I am so happy for that. Liz, can't think of anything I would want to knit in brioche. That's fair. That's fair. Cowl is the perfect place to start because then you don't have to do any decreases necessarily. But you can do like faux cables in brioche and just doing increases and decreases. You can do cables in brioche as well. I've taught that as well, and it's fun, but it's, you can get as advanced as you want, or just keep it simple and just do no increases and decreases. Just cast on for a cowl, do a tube, and cast off. And that's really fun too. And that's a great place to start. You don't have to start off with all the increases and decreases. But Liz, that's a valid point. If you can't see yourself wearing it, then you can just cheer me on for a finish. How about that? Sam, oh, I think I know what I did wrong. My brioche, I kept going with a setup row. That w- would that would cause it to be incorrect. I just thinking, yes, yes, that's not no. So just Sam, pull it out and just cast on, do the setup row once, and then move on to the brioche knit stitch and just do that back and forth for a few rows. Hi, Mary. Oh, you find it time consuming and it reminds me of fisherman's rib. It absolutely is because I think fisherman's rib is a type of brioche stitch. Like there is a lot of different brioche stitches. If I was like on the ball, I would actually have had something brioche here to show you. And I don't. I don't. Okay. Anyways, um, but typically, so I think everybody kind of knows what brioche looks like, right? You've got like rib stitches, and you've got your two colors, a kind of a striped look. But there are a lot of other variations that can just be one color, they can be two color, that are not the up and down striping. So fisherman's rib kind of fits in there. The B stitch, you can do that with one color and it's just picking up the row below. It's not slip stitches, but it is a type of a brioche stitch as well. So yeah, it's like it's a rabbit hole, you guys. You can go down it and like nothing else for the entire year, trying out all the fun things. Oh, I just posted a picture. Oh, did you, Diane? Okay. So the Fiber Friends Facebook group. Go. Okay, now I'm gonna go check that as soon as we're done chatting. Okay, I want to see this two color split in the middle kind of thing. That sounds really fun. Okay, you guys, I like this. I was gonna say, like, I don't know. I really wanted to do, I thought this would be fun, but I do have to say I was kind of excited to at the possibility of knitting up some of my hand dyed yarn. So this is the winning color combination, evergreen, and something really super fun and bright that I dyed that I could never ever repeat because hey, I don't even know what I used to dye it with. So that's it. My poor decor is going back in the stash. Maybe we'll see it in another 10 years. Hey Sabrina, something double thick living south. Oh, yes, because you're okay. That's true. Because you don't need something for warmth, do you? Unless you did it at a fingering weight. Yeah, yeah, maybe brioche isn't something that would be on the top of your list for you, would it? Okay. But then you can also be a cheerleader for me because I'm like wanting some finishes here, you guys. Okay, so let's carry on. So this is what I'm gonna skein this up. I have needles set aside. I'm gonna go a little bit smaller. Brioche stitches are soft and squishy and stretchy, so I typically go a size smaller needle. So I've got needles ready and I'm set to go. I don't know what pattern I'm going to do. I'm just going to kind of look at some stitch patterns. I wanted to have some movement, so some increases and decreases in there. I have a pattern that I used for my classes when I was teaching. I might pull that out and do that, or I may just get a little creative and try a different stitch altogether. We will see. Anyways, I will come back next week and show you what I have got started on here. I worked on 3 different projects, 4 maybe oh, 4, I think. I think I worked on 4 other projects this week. I worked a little bit more on this scarf. I have got one sleeve left to go on this, and there, it's a little bit bigger, I mean, a little longer than when I showed it to you. I think I was maybe kind of just about getting to this stripe when I showed it to you last time. Like, I didn't, I just had a little bit done. So, more done, couple of decreases. These sleeves are really wide. They've got a like a bell sleeve. It's super fun. So, one sleeve, two sleeve. Can you see that? So I've got a little ways to go on this, but slow and steady. Slow and steady is this month's motto. Just pick it up, work a few rows, move on to the next project. So that's getting close to a finish. I feel like in a couple of weeks I'm going to have a couple of 2 or 3 finishes, hopefully. The other project that I worked quite a bit on because I was really hoping I would get really close to a finish on this. Remember this shell? I know from my whiteboard back here that I started this in February. I'm pretty sure this was a February project. And I'm like, okay, this has been on the needles forever. I feel like I keep posting pictures to Instagram stories, and it's like this shell has been around forever and ever, and it just needs to be done. So it's getting wider, it's asymmetrical. So it's a boomerang asymmetrical. See, it's starting to get quite big. So asymmetricals kind of make a asymmetrical triangle. It's kind of the top, and down at the bottom, here's the point. So I'll end up wearing it like this. So it's only going to be a one skein, so it's not going to be super big. But I'm knitting it with a little bit bigger needle, maybe probably a 4 millimeter. Usually I use a 3.75 or 3.5, but this is a little bit looser. And I know, isn't this dyed really amazing? And you know what? I didn't even buy this yarn, you guys. This came from Lisa from the Codependent Knitters. This is yarn she was giving away. Somehow, if you guys watch the Codependent Knitters, you know Lisa only knits with neutrals, pretty much, like gray. Any shade of gray, she is all over it. How she ended up with this, somebody gave it to her, or anyways, we were away at a retreat a few years ago together, and we were doing a de-stash, kind of a yarn swap, and this is the ball she brought. So and I have to look at the ball band again. I don't even know if the dyer is still dyeing, but I know the colorway was called Cherry Pits, and it's like it is so accurate for, yeah, the color. So I really like it. Definitely fall colors, Alyssa. Reminds you of New England fall. I know, forest floor colors. It is really gorgeous. I love it a lot. This one here, I'm definitely keeping for myself. This is not going in the gift box. So you can see there's my stitch marker down here. So I did knit all of this. So that was like a lot of knitting, really. It was a lot of Netflix binge watching, and I just knit. So I'm also knitting this continental. So typically I am an English thrower. So that's how I learned to knit. But I've wanted to play around. I knit continental when I'm doing 2-color stranded knitting. And that's typically the only time I hold the yarn in my left hand. And it is something that I've wanted to play around with a lot over the last few years and just never stuck with it. I would start off a project continental knitting, but I was slower. So I would just switch back to my regular knitting because I was faster. But this time I have a couple projects that I am just knitting continental, and I finished a couple that were continental. And I just thought I'm sticking with it. And now it is kind of my go-to because I still have projects that are knit with both hands. So sometimes I pick up something and I immediately pick up the yarn in my left hand. Sometimes every once in a while I pick it up in my right, but most of the time I am picking it up in my left hand and just finding it really a whole lot less movement. And sometimes on days when I do knit a whole lot, I like having projects that are knit two different styles because if my left hand just starts to get tired, then I switch, pick up a different project, and I knit English style. So I'm hoping that it will, just be less wear and tear on wrists and have no knitting injuries if I kind of switch it up a little bit. Okay, so that was I knit a ton on that. I know the shawl and it looks like it's only this much, but it's increasing out wider, so it is quite a bit of knitting done. And my ball just kept getting smaller and smaller. But here we are. It's getting smaller, but there's still I'm knitting from the outside, so it doesn't even have that squishy, when you can squish the ball and you're like, "Yes, I'm getting there." Well, this is solid. So you don't have that visual of the hole in the center. All I can just physically see is the ball shrinking in size. So it is teeny tiny, but there's still a bit in here. Which is good because I would like this, shawl scarf to be as big as it can be. So I wanted to knit as much of it, every last row I can and cast off and hopefully just end up with a little bit of yarn left over, because I do like it to be as big as possible. I've just really decided one skein shawls, I mean, they're fine for a scarf, but to actually wear it, over your shoulders, I want something bigger. So this will just be something that I wear as a scarf inside my coat, and I'm gonna love wearing it. And I will think of Lisa every time I wear it. Okay, so that was one of the so we had the sweater sleeve, we had the shawl. The other one that I worked a little bit on was this one here. Just checking to make sure I haven't dropped any stitches. So this is Midnight Orchid yarn. There we are. So this one here we voted for what a couple of weeks ago. And this is doing double duty. So it was a New Start Monday project, and it also counts for the Fiber Friends May Challenge project because it has a flower name in it, Midnight Orchid. And look at these stripes. Isn't this absolutely gorgeous? I love it. So I have knit this to where I think I need to be for the leg. I'm going to do the Fish Lips Kiss heel on here. And I stopped knitting because I just had to go into Ravelry. I have to find my pattern that I purchased. I think what is it? I think it always used to be, I think, $1 for the instructions on how to do this heel. So I bought it a lot many, many, many years ago, and I knit one heel. So I need to pull it up in my Ravelry library and then just read the instructions and see how far it tells me to go. But I didn't want to go too far, so I stopped there. And I think that should be good, but I am liking this. You guys know I just love Patton's Croy. I love knitting it. I love wearing it, and this colorway has got to be one of my favorites, or if not my new favorite from their current line of colors. So, okay, I just dropped stitches. So I did steal um this needle, the 9-inch circular needle. It was on my retreat socks. And I'm on the heel flap for those. So I'm like, I don't need a circular needle for that. I can put it on DPNs and knit the heel flap back and forth. Typically, I do a heel flap and gusset on a 9-inch circular, but I was like, I'm going to switch it out so I can knit this round and round and round. Mary Maxim carries it. Yes, Diane, you are right. I think they do still carry it. Next time I'm that way, I only really get there like once a year in the fall when it's wool stock. but it's not that far to go for a drive. But there is, well, this colorway I found when I was up north when I was on vacation a couple of weeks ago. So I'll have to look and see if maybe Lens Mills has it. Michaels carries Croy, not all the colors though. So I think Lens Mill might be a better option for for finding the color. Okay, so let's chat about last week's cast on. Last week, you guys were voting for the colorway again. It's exactly what we did today. So you went for the green and the pink. And this is also going to be a hat, but it is mosaic. And it is the pressed flower hat because flowers again for the fiber friends. And mosaic is super, super fun. And flowers I love. So it was just seemed like a no-brainer. So it has started. It has started. But I'm still on the ribbing. I did have a little bit of an issue finding needles. Typically, if it was an ideal knitting world, I had all the needles to choose from. I would pick a 16-inch needle to do a hat because, again, just like the little 9-inch circular for sock, I just like going round and round. I like having no interruptions, going from needle to needle with DPNs or magic loop, just shifting things around. I just like to knit round and round and round. But that was not the option because all my 16-inch circular needles for hats are occupied. So here I am with long DPNs, which is actually not too much of a problem because I opted to just go with 3 needles. So I have got quite a few stitches on needle number 2 here. But they are just a little bit awkward because they are long, but they're working out just fine. Oh, Sabrina says I'd love to knit on DPNs. See, I do too. And this is how I always knit my socks on DPNs until I got hooked on the little 9-inch circulars. So DPNs is kind of my second go-to. If I can do circular, round and round, that's like my hands down my go-to now. But I don't mind DPNs at all. It's just these long ones are a little awkward because they are so long, but they work fine. And this is just a good example again. You use what you have. You don't, I don't know. These are like Arrow Susan Bates needles, probably that either I bought, they could have came from my grandma's house. Um, you know, and they work. They do the job fine. They're not super fancy at all. They're not a high-end needle, but it works. It works fine. And you don't have to worry about ladders when you're knitting ribbing because if you have any bit of a um, like a looseness, if you haven't pulled it snug in the ribbing, it doesn't. uh, Well, I was going to say it doesn't show at all unless you guys can see something that I don't see. But even in the camera, I can't see anything. It's so ribbing is easy peasy on DPNs because you don't have to worry about ladders at all. I know, Katie, I need to reclaim some needles. That I I'm on vacation next week. I took next week off to do some gardening. It was supposed to be a gardening, it's the end of May, perfect gardening time. I thought I'll take a week off. I can get my garden cleaned up. I can go buy some annuals. I can do some planting, and now, of course, Murphy's Law, now that I have planned a gardening week, it will probably rain. But that's my plan is to do some gardening. And I also thought, I'm going to sneak in hopefully a lot more knitting every day. So some of these projects like this shawl, the cherry pit shawl, maybe can get finished. And my hat, because this again is it's just a hat. So it is not a lot of yarn. So just a couple of days of sitting with some focused knitting time, I should get some projects finished up here. Diane saying, I'm using a 5.5 millimeter 16-inch from Walmart, and they're fine. See, and that's the thing. Some they're do you remember what brand it is, Diane? I bought very economical needles at Michael's, and I'm thinking, were they just like a loops and thread needle? And the circulars, and I think they said something like the tips swiveled on them, but I think they were just a loops and threads needle, and they were cheap. They were like 5 or $6 for a circular needle, and I was like I was a little leery, but I needed a needle, and it must have been on a Sunday, and our local yarn shops were closed, so it was Michael's was the closest to me, so that's where I went. And I remember walking up to the counter because typically with needles, you get what you pay for, right? And so I think it's always good advice to say, buy the best you can afford. But in this case, I was like, "Oh, do I buy the $6 needle? Am I gonna regret it?" It worked fine. It was fantastic. I had no problem with it at all. The join was good. The needle tip was pointy. It was fine. So I think sometimes maybe some of the that's right, Love Knitting. Yes, I've seen that label in Walmart. Okay, that's good to know. Because, yeah, sometimes, the fancy expensive needles are nice because they are nice, and the joins are always nice, the cords are wonderful, but if we can find some of these needle brands that are, more affordable, that you can just whip out and buy an extra one because you haven't finished something in the last little while, and it fits into your budget, that's good to know. Liz, you're very picky about your needles. Yep. And I have some that, yeah, are just not worth it because either the cable's too stiff, the join, like if you have to struggle every round fighting with your stitches to get them from the needle onto the cable and that join it catches, then that needle's not worth it, no matter what you paid for it. It's yeah, it just makes you not enjoy your knitting at all. Diane, I have 2 of each size and no issues so far. I use Chagu normally, so these are, my standby ones. See, yeah, and if again, it can, if you could have just wave your magic wand and have whatever you want, Chagu would be my pick too. But, sometimes you are in a pinch, right? Like, you could be on vacation and you have is a Walmart or a Michael's. You don't have a local yarn shop close at hand, or they're closed, if you need to, cast on a project late at night. Well, late night's not gonna help you, but a Sunday, right? When everything else is closed, sometimes you just gotta go and get what you can get. So that's good to know that you're happy with those ones from Walmart. And good. Just says love knitting. Perfect. Well, there you go. It's good to have some options, right? Oh, Nikki. Oh, you could live 4 hours drive from a yarn store. Well, exactly, Nikki. See, and I have to remember, I am so lucky where I live that I literally, London Yarns is a 10-minute drive. Knit Stitch is 10-minute drive. Little Red Mittens, 30-minute. Yeah, I'm very, very lucky. And I didn't realize that until it was a number of years ago now, but I went on vacation and went to a fairly large city. And it never crossed my mind that there would not be a yarn shop there. Well, there was not a yarn shop, and I could not. I was like floored. I was like, really? But that just goes to show, right? Sometimes we live in our own little bubble and you just assume and things are the same everywhere and they're not. So yes, so Nikki, exactly. Yes, and I know a lot of other people live in areas where there's no yarn shops as well. So yeah, that's where you just can't be picky, right? You you can make do with what you have. I have got so many, yeah, needles that, yeah, maybe wouldn't be my first choice, but they work. And if you're in a pinch, they do the job. Oh, love knitting for my extra. So Cindy does the same thing. You've got the same Diane. Love knitting for my extras if needed. You saw some of my mosaic dish class on Thursday. Yes. Oh yeah, Sam. Sam, you can't keep a dishcloth knitter from Knitting Dishcloths. Sam has got some fantastic finished dishcloths once again. Oh, yes, Susanna, you too. Ancient Arts is your local yarn shop. Nice. Okay, and Sabrina, you're in the same boat. You don't have a yarn shop anywhere close. Yeah, yeah, we're all in different boats, and so that's the thing, right? You just yep, exactly. You just use what you have. So it's good to have some options. And Walmart, I mean, I guess depends how rural people live, but Walmart may be your closest option. So that's good to know that those Love Yarn ones are are good. They're worth it, and you can knit a project with them and not be struggling with them. I know, I'm gonna have to finish a lot of projects. I actually yes, I know I say this quite often that I'm organizing. Well, I am organized, I just have a lot to organize. But I did find a couple of project bags that I have to say I maybe did forget about them. And there was obviously projects and needles in there, and I'm like, "Ooh, this is where some of my needles are." So, yes, I may pull those out because there was another shawl that was well, at least half finished, and I'm like, "Oh, I could use that needle." And the shawl is also really pretty. So, yeah, I'm gonna work on I have to say, you guys, I know we just have about 10 minutes left here, but Knit City Toronto is coming up this weekend. So, is anybody going? I don't know if there's anybody real local in the chat here or if anybody is traveling a little bit. But it is going to be a pretty big show. There's 100 vendors. I just looked at the email with the vendor list, and there's about three-quarters of the vendors are vendors that I have not seen before. So I'm very excited about that. But I have also decided that I am really, really seriously going to make an effort to put a a, a dent in my stash. So, um, yes, I'm gonna try real hard not to buy a whole lot. I'm just excited to go look and see some different dyers and see what's out there, see what some options are. Oh, Nikki, you have the Love Knitting brand needles. Oh, and they're okay. Okay. The wood one feels nice, but the one I had the needle chip kept snagging. Maybe it was just a one-off. And you know what? I think that can happen with any brand. So yeah, maybe it was just a one-off. Oh, Cindy, you have to drive almost an hour. Oh, almost an hour to get to Little Red Mitten, closest yarn shop to you. Yeah, an hour is something, yeah, you just can't really just jump in the car, and you have to plan that a little bit, don't you? Susanna? Oh, okay. Oh, Susanna's destashing some yarn. That's exciting. Alyssa, I'm a bit weird that I don't cast on a lot of whips, so barely have an issue of no needles. I know, Alyssa, you are a rare breed, I think. I mean, there is a fair amount of you out there, though. The people who just like the cast on, they knit, they finish. They cast on, they knit, they finish, and just repeat that cycle. I don't know how those knitters do do it. The focus it would need to not get distracted, I don't know. I have a really hard time with that. I don't know. I You guys all know the odd time that I do that, like the 2-week sweater challenge, when I don't do anything else but the sweater, am I always amazed at how fast it knits? I'm like, huh, it's like light bulb moment. If you don't knit on 10 different things at once, you can actually get something finished. But then that quickly that you that light bulb moment, that it fades. It fades, and then I forget, and I just cast on, and I have fun because I wanna do this, and I wanna do this, and then I'm right back in the same boat. Oh, Alyssa, you don't like casting on? Hmm. Sabrina, I have been knitting from stash for over 3 years, and you're down to 1 sweater quantity and a few odd balls. Oh my gosh, because your stash was stressing you out. My stash isn't necessarily stressing me out, but it is multiplying very quickly. And I thought, okay, I maybe need to do something. Oh, Deborah, yes, I have done the tomato heel. Are you thinking about trying it? It's a version of a short row heel. I did it once on a pair of socks for my daughter, and I remember it was fun to knit. I knit both of them. I did a whole pair in the same matching heel. Um, but I remember thinking that it ended up being a little bit too big. So I just knit the wrong. I can't remember. I maybe should have cast on less stitches for her for a sock, but it was fun. So it's on my list to do again. Oh, what is this? Jude says, "Can I vote for a needle scale that compresses needles, oh, to kerplunk sticks and broom handles?" Oh my gosh. Okay. Yes, that's what we need, right? We can yes, just make the size that we want. Wouldn't that be amazing? Just need a magic wand. Sounds like a Harry Potter thing. Louise, I'm a one at a project knitter. Oh my gosh. Two if I have socks on the needle. Okay. See, and I don't know. I don't if I was starting over from scratch, I think I might embrace that one at a time project. I don't know. Could I do it? I'm not sure. Sometimes I think it would be the way to go, but I'm not so sure if I could do it. Um, oh yeah, Jude, it is. The tomato heel looks like an interesting construction. Yes, if I remember right, it's kind of like three sections. Must be like a I don't know, a side, a top, and a side kind of thing. Oh, Sherry, yours isn't necessarily stressing me, but if I keep buying pretty yarn, I'll never get to knit with the pretty yarn I already have. Exactly. Because I know some people are like, well, just destash it. And I'm like, destash it? I don't want to get rid of it. I like I bought it because I liked it. I don't typically buy yarn that I don't like, right? And I mean, I guess over the years, if you don't knit with it, your style, I don't know if the styles change or your color preferences change. Like right now, you guys, I'm embracing pinks. I don't know. That has like never been a color that I've always bought it for my mom. But now I'm liking pink if it's mixed with orange or if it's mixed with yellow. I'm really, really enjoying pink. So I could see if at some point, you look at something and you're like, yeah, your taste has changed, maybe, or the colors you're not enjoying as much. I don't know. But yeah, I get where you don't really want to get rid of your stash, Sherry, because you like it and it already has pretty yarn in it. I don't know. I don't know what the heel or what the how we fix that. Do we I don't know. What is that? We have just have to either we have to knit faster, but then we don't want to stress ourselves out because we want knitting to be enjoyable. It's not like it has to be a race. So maybe that's not the answer. Do we just maybe we hire a cleaner and a cook and a maintenance like a grass cutter. Maybe that's it. Maybe we delegate or we just delegate if you have, teenage children at home that need to learn some life skills. Maybe we delegate and we just call it parenting. And then we can sit in it. I don't know. I don't know how we do that, but I know there's just so many things, so many yarns, and just so little time, right? Sam, oh, okay. Oh, okay. Louise says the tomato heel and the sweet tomato heel. Yeah, so it's the same thing, isn't it? The tomato heel and the sweet tomato heel is a cat birdie. Are they two different ones, Louise, or are they the same? Oh, you'd have to have a new theme for Monday nights if I adopted. I know, that's right. It's Monday night and we're gonna knit the same thing until it's done. Last week I had the sweaty inches. This week it has now grown to this. But I would have more finishes, but I don't know if it would be near as much fun. Oh, Susanna, you're crocheting. Oh, you've got yarns. Okay. Oh, Alyssa, anyone here have teenage kids? Alyssa, you're just finishing up university, aren't you? Sabrina, you have a 14-year-old boy. Perfect age to learn how to cook dinner every night, do their own laundry. I know. That's it. You have to knit. I mean, really. We have to you can call it parenting, right? Oh, oh, they are different heels. Oh my gosh. Okay, but they're both Capoeira. Okay, so I did the sweet tomato heel. Louise, you've just given me another heel to go look at. Okay, that is super exciting. Hi, Mary. I have too many impulse buys. Oh, they aren't love, they're just pretty. Okay, so some of those you could destash then. I know, but right? Impulse buys. We have all got caught with that. Like you see pretty yarn and it's on sale. That is hard to walk by and leave it in the store, right? Sure, you have squatters. Well, then I think they need to earn their keep so you can have more knitting time. Oh, absolutely, Sherry. I am a process knitter. I don't worry about finishes. Mm-mm. Nope, because I don't, it's not that I don't want to wear it. Like this sweater, I would love to wear it. Today was flippin' hot. It was hot. Um, we were like, we're wearing like sleeveless shirts today. Like it was hot. It was 29 degrees. Or at least that's in my car, it said the outside temperature was 29 and it felt like it. It was hot. So, and I know because I had said, like, oh, I would love to wear this in May. Well, it is now May. I am not upset that I can't wear it because I will just finish it and I'll wear it in the fall. So you're right. There's very, very few things that, other than my retreat socks, that I really, really want to get done because I'm not a product knitter at all. So that definitely would make a difference for sure. Thursday, I'm gonna learn how to design some mosaic. Oh my gosh. Yes. So Sam, okay, Sam, I'm gonna tell this story. We have got a really, really fun group of knitters at our Thursday group that Sam and I go to. And one of the ladies, her name Penny, is going to I walked over and I saw her talking to Sam about designing her own patterns, and Penny said she would help her. So that's exciting, Sam, that you and Penny are gonna connect, and she seemed pretty excited to show you about designing your own patterns because the project she's working on, it's not mosaic, but she's designing her own pattern. So I'm excited for you. That'll be lots of fun. Susanna, you have teenage grandchildren, even that Owen's 28 years old. Okay, well, grandchildren, they could certainly come over, help you out with some jobs to free up some time, right? We knitters got to stick together. We have to figure out how we can free up some of these, you know, mundane household chores. I think that's what we need to figure out. So we can just get a couple of hours extra time, a little bit of knitting time in there. Oh, your cousins are teens. Oh, no, Susanna, they live too far away. Well, that's a bummer. That's not gonna help you at all. Okay, I don't know. Maybe we'll just have to be happy with the amount of knitting time we have and just enjoy whatever we get done, right? And it's not a race, and we get finishes when we get them. Oh, you have other hobbies. Oh, I know. Don't we all? Lots of things. Lots. I've got so many things on my to-do list eventually. Someday I will get around to all of them. Okay, everybody. I think that is going to be it for our Monday night knit night chat. This has been so fun. I'm so excited about brioche, and let me tell you, cannot wait to get to the actual mosaic part of this pattern. I still have a few, I don't know, a few more rounds to do. There's quite a deep ribbed brim on this hat, and I've debated if I keep going with the ribbing, but I think I'm gonna knit it as the pattern says because it's there's no it's you just can't add plain rows in on a color work pattern. So I think I will just do as I'm told. I will follow the pattern. I will keep working some more ribbing and then get to the fun part where I can join in my apple green. My granddaughter has um, decided that she likes ripping ball bands off my balls. So a lot of my I've tried to save them and I am going to stick them up here on the bulletin board. But yes, a lot of my knitting, all my balls are now ball bandless because she likes to play with them. So I'm like encouraging that because that's, she's only a little over a year. So there's really no knitting yet for her. But I'm like, if she just wants to play with the colorful balls, I'm like, that's okay. We're going baby steps here. That's her first introduction into doing some knitting down the road. All right, everybody. I'm gonna go. I've got all these fun projects, and so we were talking about how we could get a few extra hours of knitting time. Get I'm gonna go work on some things tonight. I'm gonna wind up my hand dyed skein so it's ready to go. I'm gonna find my needles and I'm gonna cast on tonight. All of a sudden, that's right. Get them early. I know she's not gonna know what hit her. She has grown up with yarn. I mean, I was knitting when she was a day old. She's literally just been absorbing it through osmosis her whole entire life. So she's gonna. Well, I don't know. We'll see if she's gonna be a knitter. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Deanne. Oh, Deanne's knitting channel. Well, hello, Deanne. Oh, Deanna. Sorry, Deanna K's knitting channel. Ooh, we should go. I'll check that out. Um, Good night, Nancy. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. It is always a fun way to start off a Monday by just watching the voting going on throughout the day. When I have a few minutes at work, I just take a quick peek at Instagram and see what's how the voting's panning out, and then getting to chat with you all is always so much fun. I always get so much inspiration from you guys. It is a lot of fun, and now I'm gonna go get settled in with some Netflix, and I'm gonna get a little bit more knitting done. Start on my progress for next week. My shawl, I don't know if it'll get done next week, but maybe hopefully by the week after. I've got 2 hats on the go, the mosaic and the brioche. I want to make good progress on both of those. So I have got some really exciting, colorful progress that we can chat about next week. We can talk a little bit more about mosaic. We can talk a little bit more about brioche. So, anyways, guys, I'm going to head out. Have a fantastic week. Thanks for joining. Thanks for voting. And I will be back Friday night with Jocelyn. So, if you want another knit night, stay tuned Friday night. Jocelyn and I will be here and we'll just be sitting and chatting. And you're more than welcome to join us. Okay, everybody, I will see you Friday night. Happy knitting.